It began with silence. Not the kind that comes when a room goes quiet or when power fails in a city. This silence was deeper, like the air itself had stopped breathing. For days, the global array of radio telescopes picked up nothing but static, until one night in October, at exactly 2:47 a.m. UTC, every dish on Earth pivoted on its own, unprompted, unscheduled, and pointed toward the same region of sky, a dark patch beyond Cygnus. The first to notice was Dr. Alan Reeves, chief astronomer at the Atacama Deep Array in Chile. He was used to long, quiet nights of data parsing and coffee that tasted like regret. But that night, the data feed went blank, and then text appeared on the main screen. Not numbers, not coordinates, words. Humanity, you are not safe. We offer protection. Alan froze. His hands hovered over the keyboard. Around him, other researchers murmured, unsure if this was a prank, a glitch, or something far stranger. By dawn, the same message appeared in over 60 different observatories, translated automatically into every human language known. Within hours, the United Nations declared an emergency session. The President of the United States, Rebecca Cole, stood before the press that morning, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. This is not a hoax. We have confirmed the signal's origin is extraterrestrial. The world erupted. Across continents, news anchors stumbled over words like first contact, alien transmission, global threat. Social media imploded with theories. Some said angels, others said invaders. Religious groups took to the streets. Stock markets plunged, but in the chaos, the message repeated every 6 hours, unwavering. You are not safe. We offer protection. In the Pentagon's subterranean briefing room, the world's top defense leaders gathered. General Marcus Hayes, a man carved from stone and war, stood at the center of a holographic map of the stars. We traced the origin of the signal to a point roughly 4,000 light-years away, he said. That's impossible for any known form of communication. The transmission is quantum entangled, instantaneous. Beside him, Dr. Reeves adjusted his glasses. Whoever sent this isn't limited by our understanding of physics. They're advanced, far beyond us. President Cole folded her arms. Then why offer protection instead of invasion? No one had an answer. 3 days later, the skies answered for them. A ripple, visible even in daylight, rolled across the atmosphere. Every compass spun wild. The northern lights flared over Miami. Then, above the clouds, something emerged. Massive, silver, and silent. The alien ship was unlike anything humanity had ever conceived. It wasn't metallic, not quite solid, more like liquid light taking form. It hung motionless above Earth's orbit, eclipsing the sun for 3 full seconds. Then a voice, not in sound, but inside every mind, spoke again. Do not fear. We have come to guard you. The dark reaches for your world. Billions of people collapsed in awe or terror. Heart monitors spiked across hospitals. Some wept. Some prayed. But inside the Situation Room in Washington, the reaction was different. General Hayes stared at the ceiling as if daring the unseen speaker to show itself. Guard us from what? He muttered. The answer came instantly. The void. It devours. It knows you now. Dr. Reeves paled. The void? President Cole leaned forward, voice steady. Then tell us what it is. There was a pause. Then the voice replied, softer, as though from a being old and tired. The void was our enemy. We fought and failed. Now it comes for you. The transmission ended. The ship remained, orbiting like a guardian angel made of silver mist. In the following days, humanity tried to understand. The ship interfered with no systems. No weapons targeted it successfully. Every missile disarmed mid-flight as if time itself rejected their launch. Scientists were invited through thought to board it. Alan Reeves was one of them. He stood on a launch pad in Nevada, watching the alien craft shimmer low in the sky like a second moon. As he approached, the air around him thickened. Weightless yet heavy, and suddenly he wasn't standing on the ground anymore. He stood inside the ship. The interior was vast and fluid, its walls alive with light and memory. and before him stood a being that wasn't a creature so much as an idea given shape, an outline of energy, vaguely humanoid. Its eyes glowed with empathy and sorrow. "You are fragile," it said in a voice that bypassed the air. "You build in stone what we once built in stars. We would shield you before it finds you." Alan swallowed. "You said it knows us now. Because of you?" The being tilted its head, almost ashamed. "Yes, our warning was a beacon. The void hears all beacons. We hope to prepare you first. And what happens if we refuse your protection?" It hesitated. "Then your extinction will echo." Alan returned to Earth, shaken. The governments debated, nations divided. Accept protection or reject it. To some, this was salvation. To others, surrender. President Cole addressed the world in a televised broadcast. "We have been offered protection by a species that claims to know the dangers of the universe. But humanity has survived ice ages, wars, and extinction-level events, not by bowing, but by standing together. We will listen. But we will not kneel." That line became legend within hours. "We will not kneel." But even as the world applauded, the alien ship began to dim. Across the skies, a second light appeared, this one red, pulsing like a heartbeat. It came from beyond the moon. The alien's voice returned one last time that night, trembling with urgency. "It is here." And that was when humanity chuckled. Not out of arrogance, but recognition, because the world had already been watching the red signature too. It wasn't alien, it was human. The U.S. Space Defense Command had launched Project Goliath, a hidden orbital weapons platform designed for deep space deterrence. The red light was the ignition flare of its plasma array. As the alien's warning echoed across every mind on Earth, General Hayes looked up and said quietly, almost smiling, "You came to protect us? Then you really don't know who you're talking to." The sky bled red that night. From observatories in Hawaii to radar posts in Siberia, the same thing appeared, an expanding scar of crimson light beyond the moon, pulsing like the heartbeat of something alive. The alien vessel that had hung silently in orbit began to fracture, splinters of silver light peeling away like petals in a storm. At the Pentagon, alarms screamed. General Marcus Hayes stormed into the command center, his boots echoing off the tile. "Status on Goliath!" A young analyst shouted over the noise. "Weapon platform is fully charged. Target lock on the unknown object achieved. Awaiting presidential authorization." President Rebecca Cole's voice came through the line, steady but heavy. "Do it." The order carried like thunder. In the void between worlds, Project Goliath opened its eye. 10 plasma rails spun to life, glowing white-hot. In less than a second, a spear of contained fusion energy streaked toward the Crimson Rift. The blast lit up the Earth's night side like a false dawn. For a moment, just a moment, the red light dimmed. Humanity held its breath. Then the darkness screamed. No one heard it through air, but every radio, every speaker, every implant carried the same raw static, an animal roar that rattled bones and cracked glass. Astronauts aboard the ISS reported a shadow crawling over the sun. Dr. Alan Reeves was at Mission Control in Houston when the data feeds went haywire. "It's not a ship," he whispered. "It's God. It's a wave." The alien guardian's voice returned, broken, filled with something close to fear. "The void is not matter. It is hunger. Run." By the next sunrise, the world was under siege, though not in any way war had ever known. Satellites died first. Their circuits froze, not from temperature, but from the sudden absence of energy itself, as though something was eating electricity, devouring light, swallowing information. Cities went black. The internet became a ghost. Planes dropped from the sky, not crashing, but fading, vanishing mid-flight as though erased from reality. At Cape Canaveral, Dr. Reeves watched the stars flicker and go out one by one. "It's eating photons," he realized. "It's consuming light itself." General Hayes turned toward him, jaw tight. "Then how the hell do we fight something like that?" Alan hesitated. "Maybe we don't fight it with weapons. Maybe we fight it with what it wants." Hayes frowned. "Explain." The alien said it was drawn to the beacon, our signal, their signal. "It feeds on energy and consciousness. If we create a stronger beacon, we can lure it away from Earth. The general stared at him, incredulous. You're suggesting we bait a cosmic predator? Alan nodded. Or we die running from it. That night, President Cole convened the world's first unified military council. Representatives from every nuclear nation attended virtually, their faces pale in the emergency lighting. The alien craft is holding, Cole said. It's between us and that thing. Whatever protection they promised, they're giving it. On the holographic feed, the Guardian ship shimmered, expanding into hundreds of radiant filaments, a living shield around the planet. Each filament burned as the darkness struck it, dimming, dying, reforming again. But it was losing. Alan leaned close to the screen. They can't sustain it. We have to act. General Hayes slammed his hand on the table. Then we build your damn beacon. What do you need? Every nuclear reactor, every satellite uplink, every quantum array you can spare, and the power of the human mind. They called it Project Prometheus. Inside a decommissioned collider in Geneva, engineers, soldiers, and scientists worked side by side. They constructed a sphere of light, a lattice of superconductors humming with enough power to vaporize a city. At its core sat a neural interface designed to link directly with human thought. When it was ready, Dr. Reeves volunteered. So did two others, Captain Naomi Price, Air Force pilot, and Lieutenant Darius Keller, communications officer. They stepped into the chamber together. Alan's pulse echoed in his ears as he strapped into the chair, wires snaking across his temples. Begin the link, Naomi said, her voice firm. Outside the collider, the world watched. The neural bridge activated. Light poured into them, through them. For an instant, Alan saw everything, the Earth as a living heartbeat, every mind glowing like stars across the surface. Humanity wasn't billions of strangers. It was one vast network of will. They focused it, directed it. The beacon ignited. A column of white light surged from Geneva into the heavens, cutting through cloud and orbit, reaching the alien shield and beyond. The void recoiled, shrieking, but the cost was immense. Every surge drained power grids, collapsing cities into darkness. Hospitals went quiet. Oceans trembled. Still the beacon burned. Alan's voice trembled as he spoke into the neural link. We're doing it! It's pulling away! Outside, the alien ship gathered the last of its strength, amplifying the human signal. Together, they pushed the darkness back toward the stars. For the first time since the dawn of the crisis, the night sky began to clear. Then something went wrong. The beacon's stabilizers overloaded. Energy feedback arced through the neural link. Naomi screamed. Darius convulsed. Alan felt his consciousness stretching, tearing. He saw flashes, images not his own. Worlds burned. Civilizations erased. The aliens, once radiant beings, fleeing the same hunger. Their last hope, a primitive world called Earth. The voice of the Guardian echoed in his mind one final time. You are stronger than we were! Do not stop! Alan gritted his teeth, forcing his mind to hold. Come on, humanity, he whispered. Show them who we are! In orbit, the Guardian ship detonated, releasing its remaining energy into the beacon. A blinding flash tore through the atmosphere, visible from Mars. The void screamed again, then broke. The red wound in the sky snapped shut, the stars returning in perfect silence. The world fell quiet. When Alan awoke, he was in a hospital bed. His body trembled, eyes bloodshot, skin pale as ash. Naomi lay beside him, breathing shallow but alive. Darius hadn't made it. General Hayes stood at the foot of the bed, his uniform scorched and torn. You did it, son. The readings show nothing. Whatever that thing was, it's gone. Alan turned his gaze toward the window. The sky outside was bright and impossibly clear. No red light, no alien ship, just blue, gone, he whispered. Or waiting. Hayes didn't answer. That night, President Cole addressed the world again. The broadcast was raw, unpolished. We stood at the edge of extinction, and we did not bow. Humanity fought back, not with fear, but with defiance, unity, and the strength of our own will. To our unknown allies, thank you. To our dead, honor. To the stars, know this: Earth stands. The words rippled through every heart on the planet. But far above, beyond the moon's orbit, something flickered, tiny, silent, unseen by any telescope, a fragment of the alien ship, still glowing, still watching, and within its core, a faint whisper echoed through the void. The void retreats, but it learns. Prepare. The stars were quiet for almost a year. After the day the sky bled and the world stood against the darkness, humanity entered an age of silence. No more alien voices, no more flickering red scars across the heavens. The world rebuilt, power grids restored, nations healed, cities reborn beneath the new motto engraved into monuments and memorials everywhere: "We will not kneel." But the silence had its weight. Every night, telescopes searched for the faintest echo of that impossible war. Every scientist in the world learned to fear the quiet between the stars. Dr. Alan Reeves lived with that silence. He had never fully recovered from the neural surge. His hands trembled when he tried to write, and sometimes, in the quiet hours, he swore he could still hear the alien guardian's voice echoing faintly. Not words, just emotion, sorrow, pride, warning. The government called it residual neural interference. Alan called it memory. He lived in a cabin near Colorado Springs now, far from laboratories and command centers. The air was thin and clean, and the stars above the mountain peaks seemed endless. Sometimes, when the wind died, he thought he could almost feel them watching. And then, one night in late November, they answered. It started as a tremor beneath his floorboards. Not seismic, but rhythmic. The kind of vibration that moved through matter, not around it. He stumbled outside into the cold mountain night, his breath fogging in the dark. Above him, the constellation shimmered. And then a new one appeared, a pulse of silver light, forming a perfect ring high in the upper atmosphere. Alan's chest tightened. "No," he whispered. "Not again." He grabbed his emergency comms pad, still linked to the defense network through a private channel. "This is Dr. Reeves. I'm detecting a pattern, possible alien activity above Sector 7-2. He stopped mid-sentence as the light coalesced. It wasn't the same guardian ship as before. This one was smaller, fractured, a remnant of the vessel that had died protecting Earth. It descended slowly, like a wounded creature seeking a familiar shore, until it hovered just above the ridge near his home. The air shimmered. A voice, weaker, fainter, filled the space around him. "Alan Reeves, the beacon keeper." He fell to his knees. "You're alive?" Fragments remain. Memory remains. The void learns faster than we hoped. Alan's blood ran cold. "You said it was gone. You said we destroyed it. You scattered it. You fed it." The words hung heavy. "Every thought, every surge of power from your beacon, it consumed and understood. The next time it comes, it will come knowing you." Alan's breath caught. "Then why come back? Why tell me?" The light pulsed faintly. "Because you are the first species that ever made it retreat, and the only one that made it afraid. By morning, the world knew. Satellites captured the alien remnant's descent, and within hours, governments scrambled to contact it. President Rebecca Cole, older now, her face lined by a year of sleepless vigilance, appeared in an emergency address. "If the void still exists, we need to be ready. The aliens sacrificed themselves once to defend us. This time, we defend ourselves. Project Prometheus was reactivated, but this time it wasn't about survival. It was about preparation." General Marcus Hayes returned to duty, his once black hair now streaked with silver. He met Alan again inside the underground command complex beneath Cheyenne Mountain. "Hell of a retirement you picked," Hayes said with a smirk. Alan gave a tired smile. "You know me, bad at endings." Hayes's grin faded. "You think this is really coming back?" "I don't think," Alan replied softly. "I know, and next time it won't just eat light. It'll use us to find others." Hayes crossed his arms. "So what's the play?" Alan looked toward the holographic projection of the stars. "We build another beacon, but not to call for help this time. To warn." Months passed. Humanity worked like never before. Every nation poured its resources into Project Prometheus II, a colossal lattice of orbiting stations connected by plasma conduits, forming a planetary ring of energy. It was no longer a weapon or a lure. It was a lighthouse. At its heart stood a new neural core, designed to merge with a single human consciousness capable of sustaining the beacon's pattern for centuries. A mind strong enough to endure eternity between signals. When the time came, Alan stood before it. President Cole placed a hand on his shoulder. "You've done more than anyone could have asked. You don't owe us this." Alan looked up at the chamber, the swirling energy, the hum that felt like the heartbeat of the planet. "I owe it to them," he said quietly. "To the ones who tried to protect us, to Darius, to Naomi, and to whatever's out there listening." Hayes gave him a small nod. "Then Godspeed, Doctor." Alan smiled faintly. "No gods left out there, Marcus. Just us." The chamber sealed. Energy arced through the neural core as Alan connected to the interface. The room filled with light, pure and endless. He felt his body dissolve, replaced by something larger, a consciousness stretching beyond flesh, reaching out through every satellite, every photon, every thought. He could see the stars again. He could feel the hum of human life, the pulse of every mind looking upward and beyond the edges of the galaxy. He felt it, the void, not as a presence but an echo, a distant rumble of hunger and curiosity. It remembered the pain. It remembered fear, Alan focused. Through him, the beacon pulsed, a wave of brilliance racing across the void, carrying one message to any who could hear. We are humanity. We are not prey. We are the flame that fought back. The message repeated again and again until it became a rhythm, a warning, a declaration. Years passed. Alan's body was gone, but his mind lived within the beacon, a guardian of light orbiting Earth. The stars remained quiet. The void did not return. Children grew up under skies free of red scars. Generations forgot the fear, but they remembered the courage. In every classroom, in every spaceport, one phrase endured. They offered us protection. We offered them defiance. On a distant world, light years away, something stirred, a civilization older than Earth, scarred by the same shadow. They looked to the stars and saw the pulse of the human beacon crossing their skies, a signal of warning, a signal of strength, and for the first time in eons, they felt hope. High above Earth, the Prometheus beacon burned steady, its light a silver halo against the void. Inside it, Alan Reeves, no longer a man but a mind of light, watched over his world. The alien fragment, still orbiting beside him, flickered softly. "You kept your promise," it whispered. Alan's voice, now more thought than sound, answered, "We learned from the best." The fragment pulsed once, then finally dimmed, its essence fading into the light of the beacon. Below, Earth turned peacefully beneath the stars. Humanity had no gods, no guardians, no saviors left. They had themselves, and that was enough.